Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Mark here with the Better Mark. Let's get into some exciting talk as we await for the resuming of play following the All-Star break as we get into the race to October. A lot of these postseason hopefuls, right? We're going to talk a little bit about the futures markets, the awards markets, and kind of put all together my research that I've been doing within some of the power rankings within the clubs in Major League Baseball. I'll give you guys some of the talk inside trade deadlines as well, and give you some information to kind of put us in a good position as we look forward to navigating the betting markets as play resumes tomorrow on Friday, July 19th. So let's get down into it. We'll look at some of the standings as well before we get down into kind of where we're at within some of the bets. I'll talk to you guys about the best odds available and share with you guys some of my futures plays and opportunities as we get closer to the resumption of the second half of baseball. So let's get into it. Let's talk some baseball. I'm glad to be back. The All-Star game, full disclosure, was kind of a letdown. I unfortunately had the under 7.5, the game ending on 8. I had the American League winning, so just kind of a wash. But if we did have the kind of the late in the game 2-run home run by Jared Duran, we would have had covered and basically just did not need that guy on base. We would have had a 4-3 victory instead of a 5-3, cashing in on that under 7.5. So it's very important why you need to bet numbers early, because that number did open up at 8. I would love to have a push in that, but nonetheless, we are back at it and in the office. I'm going to give you guys kind of this full rundown breakdown. So it will be kind of a longer video, so hopefully you guys all stick around to the end. As always, though, please subscribe down below. And for those of you that are wondering what picks I'm going to be sharing, it's going to be along the way, so you're going to make sure you want to follow me throughout the course of this video. So let's get down into it, okay? And before we kind of talk a little bit into kind of what we have going on, I do want to share with you guys the channel sponsor. This is oddsjam. All right, so I do have a banner at the top of the screen. Click on my link in the description. Make sure you guys all sign up for oddsjam. I don't know where. I'm kind of happy for this channel because I didn't even know about this platform, and if I did not have oddsjam, I would be kind of wasting a lot of time logging in, logging out of sites, missing out on a lot of opportunities. It really is an invaluable tool within sports betting. So check it out. Make sure you guys all check it out using my link. You get 30% off if you use promo code TBM just for signing up. A lot of people on the channel have signed up. And the other thing I want to share with you guys is a lot of people on the channel have signed up to become channel members. So I am going to be doing a lot more work with that, with providing exclusive members only content for a lot of my channel members. Football season is my bread and butter. That is approaching. My channel was not started before the football season last year, so that's something that I'm really, really looking forward to. I can't even tell you guys how much I'm awaiting that football season to start up very, very closely. It'll be here before we know it. So make sure you guys all sign up to become a channel member. It's $10 a month. I don't charge for picks, but that is one way that you can give back and help out us as we kind of navigate every single day, giving you guys content, best bets, all that good stuff. And it is something where a lot of people do charge for picks. I don't, but that is my way that you guys can help support the channel. So that's what I have. Let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the standings we have. Let's look at the overall right now as we look for kind of where we're at. I'm just going to do a very vanilla way of showing you guys this, but we're going to just break through some of the divisions within baseball. First off, American League East, the Orioles holding on to that slim advantage against the Yankees, just looking to kind of end that slump they were on in their last 10 games. They had winning 3 out of 10. They're lacking kind of pitching depth, in my opinion. That's kind of their big thing. We'll see what they do around the trade deadline. Me personally, with the depth that they have from position players, I said to you guys in previous videos, I really hope the Orioles just kind of shell out the farm system, sell the farm, and get involved with the Tark Skubal race. Who knows if that'll happen? But there's a lot of starting pitchers available. We'll get into some of those names just to kind of do that right now. Some of the best starting pitchers available within the trade deadline. You can look into some of the starters: Tyler Anderson, Garrett Crochet, Zach Eflin, Eric Fetty, Jack Flaherty, Kikuchi from the Blue Jays, Cal Quantrill with the Rockies, and the number one headliner is Tark Skubal. Those are names that you need to keep on the lookout for, moves that could be made in that. Within relievers, right, we have Mason Miller. He's on the block. It's going to be interesting to see if one of the best I think maybe not, if not the best relievers in baseball, or just pure pitching ability, right? Velocity, unlike anybody in baseball, in my opinion. We'll see if he gets moved. See if the Athletics look to kind of sell off as they look to start their new franchise in Las Vegas when that comes about. Also, you need to look into kind of what's going on within some of the position players that we'll get into a little later. But yeah, which teams will be movers? I think that three teams that catch my eye are going to be the Blue Jays, the Athletics, and the White Sox. Will they be sellers come the trade deadline? That's going to be something that shapes the market, in my opinion. All right. And who's going to be buyers, right? We have a lot of fringe teams looking to kind of further solidify them in this arms race to win their pennants, respectively, and make a push into the postseason. The Orioles, definitely the team that I think needs to be buyers in the starting pitching market. I do have a futures play with them. Corbin Burns can't do it himself. The Yankees, we'll see what happens if they can add a big arm. I know they're dealing with injuries, but with the run that Judge has been on, if they get Juan Carlos Stanton back in full blast and some of their pitchers to get healthy, I think the Yankees are definitely live. So we're going to get into some of that. I think the Guardians pretty much are going to run away with the American League Central, looking for some reversion to the mean. Sometimes the All-Star break can do that. Can't really tell you enough how surprised I am. Me being a Guardians fan, this has been one that has definitely been an eye-opener. I had them to finish third in the AL Central preseason, and this is something where I tip my cap. Shout out to them boys that have been playing some great baseball, but they were on a little bit of a skid in their last 10 games as well. Getting into the American League West, I still think the Astros are going to win that division. That's something that I'm really looking forward to getting into that futures market. I think that the odds are going to indicate that, but I still think there is some value still alive within that. All right, I think that the Phillies and the Braves, potentially are going to run away with the East. I think that the Mets have the opportunity to outlast the Braves. Another play within the futures market. Will the Nationals make the wild card? That is something definitely in the cards. I think that's a very big value play. Whether or not that happens, probably not, but they have been on a skid their last 10 games, so the odds are definitely sliding away from them back when I first came about on that bet. All right, National League Central. I think a great bet you can make right now in terms of that futures market is taking the Pirates to make the postseason. I think that they're live. I think that you can see their starting pitching to really carry them through. But otherwise, outside of that, I think that the Brewers might see some regression. So I look for possibly the Cardinals or the Pirates to kind of catch up to them. But right now, the Brewers have a commanding lead, up 4.5 games on the Cardinals in the NL Central. The NL West, I think the Dodgers, you got to look what they're doing. I think they're the safest bet right now to kind of win the World Series. I'm hearing rumblings that they might acquire Tarek Skubal, be in that running. If they can get an arm like that, watch out. I think that when Mookie Betts get healthy and they can further solidify the rest of their lineup, I think that they do have top to bottom the best lineup in baseball. So that's kind of what I'm looking at within the breakdown of the divisions. Let's get into some of the odds markets as you guys are all waiting. We look into kind of some of the storylines. I've talked to you a little bit about trade deadlines. Some of the big position players on the move, possibly Randy Arozarena. We could look at some of the Blue Jays players. We do know that we have, contract years for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette also. So whether or not they kind of unload the Blue Jays and look to do a restart, we'll see what happens. Luis Robert possibly in the trade mix for the White Sox. That's another big name. See what the Marlins do. They could be sellers as well, and as well as the Angels. So those are teams that pretty much have been consensus sellers at the deadline. So we have the Angels, White Sox, Rays, the Blue Jays. Off the top of my head, the Tigers. Those are teams that I look for to be sellers. Rockies, Athletics. All right. So we just named a few of the clubs that look to move players possibly. So we'll see what happens as we get closer to that huge deadline on July 30th. So that's kind of what we have going on within that. You look at some of the odds. We're just going to flash through. I'll tell you guys what jumps off at the page. The Guardians, minus 165, best number out there. If you can put together some parlays, that's something fun to do within divisional winners. I think that the Guardians do end up holding on. Really a fan of their bullpen. Best bullpen in baseball, top to bottom. And quite frankly, a lot of these younger players are just going to get better. So what they're doing, It's completely awesome. Tip your cap to the guards. Look for them to actually take home the pennant, which is shocking to me. I think that the White Sox, Tigers are going to fall off the board. The Royals had a shot at the Central. That was one of the futures bets I liked early on, but they really struggled to hit the baseball. And being 7 games back, I don't see them narrowing that lead. So firmly a 2-team race, in my opinion, but I do think the Guardians outlast the Twins. Okay, we'll get into the AL East. I think minus 115 for the Yankees there in the 2 spot. That's kind of what everybody's betting on. I don't see the Red Sox catching up. 30-1 is a juicy number out there, but for me, it's 2-man race as well, Yankees or Orioles. Orioles a plus 120. That's very tempting. So we'll see what happens, but seems to be the safe play is with the Yankees to catch up eventually, especially if they're buyers at the deadline. The AL West, I think plus 120 if you still get that on FanDuel for the Astros. I'm fading the Mariners. I think they're going to fall off the board. Great starting pitching, but I just think that the Astros are going to come to life. 1 game back. Probably one of my favorite bets here in the divisional game if you want to get on the Astros plus 120. So that would be where I'm at within that. Okay. And then we'll get into the NL Central real quick. We talked about kind of fading the Brewers, but I don't really know who to put up next. Okay. Minus 270 is a firm number. This is kind of one where you can find some value. If you do want to get on board and kind of take a flyer on the Pirates, plus 2,600, that's some pretty good value. They're 6.5 games back, but you never know. They showed a lot of signs of life, winning 7 out of their last 10 games. The Brewers, conversely, losing 3 out of their last 7. See if this trend continues to fall. I'm not really a big fan of the Cardinals this year. They're the closest, but if I was going to bet this, I'd probably take a flyer on the Pirates or the Cubs to kind of narrow this gap. Okay. All right. NL East, this is another one where it's kind of all but wrapped up. 120-1 on the Mets. That's kind of interesting. But 12.5 games back, I'm not going to get involved. Mets to make the postseason, that's a very interesting number. But I think that this is the Phillies division to win, and I think the odds reflect that at minus 525. And then the last division out there, we'll look at the NL West. Unbettable. It's Dodgers. They're going to come to life and run away with this one. So we're not going to spend too much time talking about that. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about the awards market. We are going to talk, but first, before we do that, let's get into kind of the numbers here for the American League and National League winner. The American League winner, I believe this is something where we look for who's going to make it to the postseason. Okay. I have a futures bet within the Baltimore Orioles. I think that you look at this, I think 7-1 on the Astros is juicy. But for me, guys, I hate to say it, it's really just a four-team race. So I think the edge goes to the NL for taking home the World Series crown. So if you do want to bet kind of a futures bet, you could take the league to win the World Series. I think that's a very good bet to have the Dodgers or Phillies or even kind of the Braves minus Acuna within that market. But I would favor taking the NL to bring home the hardware here in October. Okay. But, if you want to get involved with this, fantastic. I think that the value would be definitely on Cleveland or Houston. If you don't believe in Cleveland, then that kind of answers that question. But that's where I'm at within the American League winner. All right. The National League winner, this is where we got to look into kind of a little bit of a controversy here. I think the Dodgers plus 180. I think that is the best bet you can make. A lot of people are going to love the Phillies plus 255. Zach Wheeler kind of championed that rotation within Ranger Suarez as well. The Phillies are going to get healthy. Outstanding ball club, top to bottom. Alec Baum's really had a great year. Love the Phillies plus 255. That's super juicy, but I am going to be a firm believer in the Dodgers for the second half of the season. So for me, really, it's the World Series matchup, which we're going to talk about right here, is going to be kind of a very, very self-explanatory bet. I think it comes down to 5, maybe 6 teams. And, you look at the Dodgers, best number available is plus 350. Phillies plus 500. I think you can maybe sprinkle on both of those teams, and it's similar to betting just the NL to win it. Maybe a little bit better of a number if you look at your net win after taking that. But I think that's where the safe bet would be to put, a couple units on both and just hope for the NL to bring home the hardware, because I think what we're going to end up with is either, two of the four teams between the Dodgers, Phillies, and then I probably have the Guardians and the Orioles in that mix. I'm kind of a fader on the Yankees. I don't really believe in them, but time will tell. So those are kind of the four teams I have in the running. I hate to say it, but the Indians definitely have a shot. And 18-1, Astros at 16-1. I think both of those teams are warranted of a flyer, but for me, I think the NL wins the World Series this year. So I think that's money well spent if you bet the Dodgers or Phillies to bring home the hardware. Okay. So let's now get into some of the awards market. American League MVP, Judge, clear-cut favorite. I don't think that's worth betting right now. Right now it's an unbettable market at minus 310. If you want to look for some value, possibly, you can look into Gunnar Henderson, but for me, it's Judge or nothing. And at minus 310, I'm staying away. The National League MVP, all right, we have Shohei. That's kind of what it is. I think that you could put some 6-1 money on Bryce Harper, but outside of that, it's Shohei's award to lose, I think, unfortunately. So if you look into some of the voting history, maybe people within the betting scandal find a way not to bet for Ohtani. So if that's the case, then 6-1 on Bryce Harper is definitely going to be the best bet you can make at DraftKings as long as he stays healthy. I think that's a very safe sprinkle you could do on a 6-1 number. That's kind of why oddsjam is so important. Look at the variance we have with the odds. DraftKings clearly has the best market for a lot of these. You can see the difference, minus 290 for Ohtani versus minus 380. In other markets, you get 600 at DraftKings for Harper, and you can find 4-1 elsewhere. So huge reason why to sign up for oddsjam, because if you're not using it, you're just simply throwing money away, in my opinion, taking bad numbers out there. Okay. Now, a couple of the other interesting markets. All right. American League Cy Young and NL Cy Young. All right. This is probably going to be the most heated race. I think a lot of the odds on money is on Tark Skubal. I have a little sprinkle on Seth Lugo, full disclosure. But for me, I think it's Skubal's award to lose. This is where you start running into some innings restrictions. Also, if you do want to get into a kind of an interesting AL market, I forgot to mention Stephen Kwan. Take a flyer on Stephen Kwan. He might do something spectacular from an average perspective that really kind of champions the Indians into a postseason position where you can't really vote against them. So look for some Stephen Kwan action, similar to kind of what we saw with Corbin Burns. You never know. It's not a flashy play, but if he gets a crazy average to end the year, I mean, how do you not give him that award alongside the betting title? So Skewball, definitely the odds-on favorite within the AL. Kind of be interesting to see if he gets traded, how that plays out, if he would get traded to the NL. But that's something to keep in mind. I'm not sure how that would play out in terms of eligibility status. But the NL Cy Young, that's going to be probably a more competitive market. If you want to see a world where Paul Skeens, if he has the innings, that's going to be something yet to be determined. But 5-1 right now for him in that market to go against Chris Sale and Zach Wheeler. I think it's a 5-man race. Definitely better arms in the NL, top to bottom, in my opinion. Chris Sale has been having a fantastic year for the Braves. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. But my vote would go to, Zach Wheeler. Kind of where I'm at. I think the record kind of will disallow that, but you can't deny what Chris Sale has been doing in the absence of Ronald Acuna. So it's really a 5-man race in the NL. So that's kind of where I'm at within that market. You can see it kind of take form. If you want to take a flyer and some spectacular, if Ranger Suarez can get hot, that's definitely out there, 32-1. That might be worth a flyer, but with him and Wheeler in the crosshairs for the NL Cy Young, I think that's going to play against them. So for me, it's going to be Sale, Wheeler, or Paul Skeens. And Paul Skeens at 5-1 is not a bad storyline. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of where I'm at within that. Okay, obviously Skeens for Rookie of the Year. He pretty much has that one wrapped up. The AL Rookie of the Year, that's going to be interesting. Let's get into this. All right, this is kind of a wide open market. Personally, I would entertain Mason Miller at 16-1. We'll see what happens with the trade deadline as well, but for me, it's going to be Mason Miller at 16-1 or no bet. Wyatt Langford definitely has the odds on money here, plus 135. We'll see what happens in that market, but that's kind of where I'm at. If I was going to take a flyer, it would be on Mason Miller. So, relievers, not the most flashy Rookie of the Year, so that's kind of a storyline as well. Luis Gill, he wouldn't get my vote, so it's going to be Wyatt Langford or a flyer on Mason Miller. All right, and that's kind of where I'm at. If we want to get back into some of the the numbers here, if we look at the World Series winner, I told you guys I have a 7-1 ticket on the Baltimore Orioles. You can get them live right now for 8-1, so kind of lost some value in that. But like I said, it's a 4-team race in my opinion. I think the money that's best spent is just going heavy on the Dodgers or Phillies and hoping for the NL to take home the hardware. Okay. I wish there was a number where I could find it. World Series league winner. This is it. Okay. This is where you can find minus 120 for the best number available for the National League. That's probably my best futures bet right now. I know it's tough to tie up your money with a minus 120 bet, but if I was going to tell you guys my best bet for the futures market, it would be just to pretty much do that. But I think you get better value if you would take individually just the Dodgers and the Phillies. Okay. So that's kind of what we're at. Some of the win markets. Team with the best record, that's a very, very interesting market. You can see right now the Phillies odds on favorite. Dodgers plus 550. It's going to be hard for them unless they go on a run. But looking at some of the numbers, you can see who has the best record in baseball. You can see the Phillies with 62 wins, Brewers. So it's really coming down to the Phillies, in my opinion. And, if some of these 58-win teams, such as the Orioles, Yankees, and the Guardians, if you think that they're not going to have any regression to the mean, but the Phillies having a 4-game lead in that category kind of gives them a leg up. I think that you can maybe get on board with the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers plus 550, there's some value with that. They get Mookie back. They make a move with the trade deadline with a starting pitcher. I think that's a very safe flyer as well. So a little lower on the board. I think the Indians, I don't know if they're going to be buyers. They haven't really been buyers at any time in my lifetime, but plus 25-1, that's definitely worth a little sprinkle in my opinion. So kind of crazy that the Phillies plus 125, they are that much of a favorite to have the best record. I know they are right now, but anything can happen, and teams go on slumps. So I definitely would look a little lower down in the odds board, finding that team with 55 or 58 wins. I think they're going to be firmly in arm's reach of that as well. So that's kind of what we have going on. That is my breakdown of the futures market. Second half storylines we talked a little bit about. I think the Dodgers is my number one storyline. In terms of the trade market, if they go out and get Skubal and the rumors prove to be true, that would be absolutely insane. So I look for that to be one of the storylines. Also, Mookie Betts' return. So how good of a club can they become? Can they find their lineup? But top to bottom, there really shouldn't be nobody competing with the likes of the Dodgers, in my opinion. So that's where I'm at with that. Also, the Indians, if they do see some regression, will they hold on to that AL Central lead? Will they continue this trek where they had the best record in baseball? Time will tell. But if you do believe in the Guardians, 25-1 for best record in baseball, that is a firm, safe bet in terms of just throwing a little pizza money on that at 25-1. Why not? So also the Mets, will they make the playoffs? That is a kind of a market where I think that you can look into. I can't really find that in terms of will you make the playoff for. Yeah, here we go. So let me pull this up because I did want to talk about this. So forgive me, I kind of did this one out of order, but you can see right here, we'll make the playoffs. We'll have to go a little bit down the odds board, okay? And you can see what I'm talking about. So we can find some of the big numbers here for yes and no. New York Mets, no, is minus 160. New York Mets, yes, is plus 134. that might be a little bit of value. The numbers kind of went down a lot, but the Pittsburgh Pirates, yes, is now 5-1. I think that was 14-1 at one point. That was something that interested me. So those are a couple of the flyers that I'm interested in. San Diego Padres plus 145, yes. That's another one out there in the market. Also, if you want to look into the Houston Astros, yes, minus 160. I like that. It's a lot of juice, maybe unbettable, but I do like for that one to come home. So that's kind of where I'm at within the market. So appreciate you guys watching. If you can, make sure you guys all subscribe on your way out. Please let me know your predictions for the futures and the second half of the Major League betting season when you do get a chance to watch the end of this video. Also, like I said, channel sponsors. If you do want to become a channel member, I appreciate all my channel members. Like I said, if you want to give back, that's a great way to do so. Also, make sure you guys all check out OddsJam on your way out and get signed up today. So thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys all tomorrow, and enjoy this last day before baseball really starts heating up. Thanks.